Welcome to the Randy Report. I'm Randy Slovacek, your host. I'm also the writer and editor of therandyreport.com, where you can find me every single day on the internet reporting on the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community and its allies. In this week's headlines, Jared Paulus made history as the first out governor to get married while in office. Out football player Carl Nassib made a game-changing play in his first regular season game as an out NFL player. Parkland shooting survivor and gun legislation advocate Cameron Kasky came out, and out singer-songwriter Alex shares his deeply relatable new single, Confrontations. All that and more in this episode of The Randy Report. Colorado Governor Jared Paulus married his longtime partner Marlon Reese this week, becoming the first LGBTQ+ U.S. governor to get married while in office. In a message posted on Twitter, Governor Paulus wrote, quote, "The greatest lesson we've learned over the past 18 months is that life as we know it can change in an instant. We are thankful for the opportunity to celebrate our life together as a married couple. After 18 years together, we couldn't be happier to be married at last." The couple, who were married in a traditional Jewish ceremony, have been together over 17 years and are proud parents of 2 children, ages 7 and 9. Last March, Reese shared news of the engagement with the Colorado Sun, and it turns out Jared Paulus knew just how to bring peace to a chaotic situation. It turns out Reese was preparing to head to the hospital for treatment for a COVID-19 infection after his oxygen levels had dropped to a concerning level. He told the Sun, "I was getting my things ready. My daughter was crying in the corner. She didn't want me to go. My son was asking me a lot of technical questions like, when are you coming back? Do you know exactly what's wrong?" It was a very tense moment. And then Paulus entered the room urging Reese to hurry up, which irked Reese. And then Jared Paulus dropped to one knee. According to Reese, it was the absolute perfect time. I said to him, "I couldn't breathe before, and now I really can't breathe." In 2018, Paulus made history as the first openly gay man to be elected governor of a state. Governor Kate Brown of Oregon, who identifies as bisexual, is the only other out LGBTQ governor in the United States. Congratulations to the happy couple. Carl Nassib, already making history as the first out gay man to play in a regular season NFL game, was a game changer in the Las Vegas Raiders' dramatic 33-27 win in overtime Monday night against the Baltimore Ravens. Tied in overtime, it looked like the Raiders were going to suffer a loss after quarterback Derek Carr threw for an interception on 3rd and goal. But 5 plays later, with the Ravens facing 3rd and 7 on their own 33-yard line, Nassib strip-sacked Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. Now, I know it may sound funny that I'm talking about sports, but I want to share with you listeners that my father, when I was growing up, was actually a longtime professional sports writer who covered professional football, basketball, and baseball. Trust me, I grew up with a lot of those games on TV in my household when I was a kid. Now, a strip sack occurs when a defensive player causes a fumble while tackling the opposing quarterback. After the Ravens quarterback lost control of the ball, the Raiders recovered the ball after the fumble, and 2 plays later, Derek Carr threw for a long, lofty touchdown, connecting with Zay Jones for the win. After the game, Raiders coach John Gruden told the Las Vegas Review-Journal about Nassib, "He made a great play. Nassib had a great training camp. We're going to need him going forward." Because Nassib's tackle was so game-changing, he was one of the players who spoke at the post-game press conference. Here's just a little of what he had to say about the historic game.
Carl, I saw a fan tonight who was wearing your jersey number. He said he'd never been to an NFL game. He was here after he heard what you'd done. Came out. And he said people kept stopping him. Right on, right on, right on. I wonder what your feelings are about that and just having happened on a big stage. This is the first regular season game since you made that announcement.
That's amazing. That's a great story. I love that. Wish I could have seen the kid. But, yeah, it was really special. I'm really happy that we got the win on the day that kind of made a little bit of history, which was like really, really nice to do. Had a lot of people come before me in the LGBTQ community that helped me get to where I am, and I'm super thankful for that. And yeah, I can't wait to get to Pittsburgh next week and keep this thing going. A lot of firsts today, you know what I mean? It was great. I really taken it in as much as I could, even before, like just throughout the game, little things. Played in a lot of games, now this being my 6th year, and I try to make sure I really remember every single game, and I won't forget this one. So I'm just happy that we got a win, and we got a great team, and really happy.
Thank you, Carl.
Hey guys, have a good night.
As I previously reported, Nassib, who's 28 years old, publicly came out on June 21st this year in an Instagram post to his fans. His announcement made him the first active out player in the NFL. Cameron Kasky, a survivor of the deadly 2018 Parkland school shooting, came out earlier this week in a letter posted on his Twitter account. Following the shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High, Kasky stepped up and into the national spotlight with several of his fellow school survivors, including David Hogg and openly bisexual Emma Gonzalez. Kasky and company helped organize the 2018 March for Our Lives event in Washington, D.C., where he spoke passionately in support of gun reform legislation to stem the tide of mass shootings in the U.S. In 2019, he was invited to attend the State of the Union address as a guest of Congressman Eric Swalwell of California. Kasky, who's now a student at Columbia University, began his open letter on Twitter on a light note, writing, "Hi, got a second? How about a minute? All right, great. I'm queer." He continued, saying he doesn't exactly know what type of queer he is, but he's okay with that. He might be bi, he might be demisexual, which he explained is a sexual attraction based solely on emotional connection, but he says he'll figure that out later. Kasky shares that his journey towards self-acceptance has been going on for years, and then added, "I've wanted to be straight for so long. A straight guy who's done some gay stuff here and there. There's so much security in heterosexuality." Later in his letter, the 21-year-old acknowledged the privilege he experiences being a white cisgender man. Quote, "Queer people who are not white cisgender men are subject to infinitely more doubt, anguish, and discrimination than I will ever face." Additionally, Kasky tipped his hat to queer activists, specifically queer activists of color, who paved the way for him to be able to come out this week. He also clapped back at naysayers who poo-pooed the concept of bisexuality. He wrote, "Bisexual men are told they're just gay but afraid to admit it, and bisexual women are told they're just straight and having little fun. We need to change this forever." He closed his letter with some advice to others searching to find themselves, writing, "To those of you who are also struggling to find an identity that you find authentic, take your time. Look inwards and indulge in your beauty and light. You'll find so much to love, so much to be proud of." Congratulations to Cameron Kasky for living his authentic life. At the 2021 Creative Arts Emmy Awards last week, RuPaul won his 6th Emmy Award for Outstanding Host for a Reality or Competition Program. In accepting the award, RuPaul said, "I started in television 40 years ago on a public access station in Atlanta, Georgia. A little show called The American Music Show. They were so kind to me to have me do my hard yards there years ago, and I want to thank them for being so kind to me and all the people in this business who've been kind. I have to tell you, the sweetness and the kindness is what I appreciate the most today. In fact, the sweetness and the kindness are at the top of my list of human virtues. After that would be a big fat ass. Thank you so much for this award." This win brings RuPaul's Emmy Award total to 10 trophies, 6 for hosting and 3 as the executive producer of RuPaul's Drag Race, plus 1 more as the executive producer of RuPaul's Drag Race Untucked, which also garnered an Emmy for Outstanding Unstructured Reality Program. Congratulations to Ru. Out singer-songwriter Alex, lowercase a, Alex, recently released his intimate and emotionally candid new single, Confrontations. The gentle, stirring vocals by Alex land right in the sweet spot as he explores how he got from there to here as a gay man. And the plaintive and achingly honest lyrics amid a spare but artful musical arrangement allows the storytelling to take center stage. The track feels authentic and specific, but at the same time, universal. I'm pretty sure you can count on this being on my list of top 5 songs of 2021 come December. For the release, Alex answered several questions via email for the Randy Report about how he found the DNA of Confrontations, his musical inspirations, and more. He told me, I wrote Confrontations about growing up closeted and having to differentiate between which parts of me are authentic and which parts I created in order to keep my secret when I was younger. In an attempt to stay closeted, I not only hid parts of me, but I pretended to like certain things and act a certain way. I've come to learn that this is an all too common experience for LGBTQ+ people. Confrontations is a raw look at sorting through different parts of yourself as you search for the most authentic version of yourself. At first, Alex says he didn't plan on showing Confrontations to anyone. He wrote, "It's such an intimate, personal story, and I was pretty scared to share it. I posted a short clip of a demo of Confrontations on TikTok, and to my surprise, hundreds of thousands of people relate to this feeling. Thousands of messages of similar experiences began to flood in, and I couldn't be happier that I decided to share it because it's connecting with so many people." You can read the full interview at, where else? therandyreport.com. But for now, let's take a listen to Alex's new single, Confrontations.
I never liked baseball, but I always ended up on the team. I wasn't drawn to the girls in the Sports Illustrated magazine. And when push came to shove, I hid who I was under lock and key. I built a home man I didn't understand, and people called him me. Push it down and play it safe. Get in line or get away. You did what you had to do to make it through the day. And now my life is a series of confrontations between my traits and the ones I was faking. On my search for who I was meant to be. Who I was meant to be. I was in touch with my emotions, but no one could ever know it but me. How could I ever be respected if somebody else perceives me as weak? So when push came to shove, I lived in disgust under lock and key. I built a home man I didn't understand, and people called him me. Push it down and play it safe. Get in line or get away. You did what you had to do to make it through the day. And now my life is a series of confrontations between my traits and the ones I was faking. On my search for who I was meant to be. Who I was meant to be. You'll never know if you don't let go. You'll never know if you don't let go. Push it down and play it safe. Get in line or get away. You did what you had to do to make it through the day. And now my life is a series of confrontations between my traits and the ones I was faking. On my search for who I was meant to be. Who I was meant to be.
And that brings me to the end of this episode of The Randy Report. If you enjoy catching up on LGBTQ news in a quick podcast, I'd appreciate it if you would share it with your friends. I like to think of The Randy Report as the 60 minutes of gay news, only shorter. And remember, you can find me every single day on the internet at therandyreport.com, where I cover the daily news cycle regarding politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community and its allies. Thanks for listening, folks. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.